Hi. We're going to get started because people are already watching out in the world.
Everybody's just lingering in after lunch.
Yeah.
It's taking a little while.
But for their sake, we'll just get started, and then as people come in, they could just join us. But we're going to talk today about living positively with Huntington's disease. I am Katie Moser. I'm from New York, and this is my 11th convention.
And I am Karen Millick. I live in Florida, but I'm originally from upstate New York, and this is my 21st convention.
Very nice. We're going to talk today on behalf of the Huntington's Disease Society of America. Karen has no relationships to disclose. I have to share that I previously worked with Lundbeck. So today we'll talk about ourselves. We'll just give a little introduction into who we are and why we're up here. Give you some tips for living positively, some resources, and then at the end we'll take questions. So I grew up in a family that was affected by Huntington's disease. When I was a child, I do have good memories of my grandfather, but I do remember him becoming angry. I remember him constantly moving, pacing. He wanted to move to Florida, so my grandparents moved to Florida, but then eventually they came back up north and moved from house to house, living with my aunts and us. And when they were at our house, his movements broke our couch, they broke our chairs. He fell onto my bed and broke the bed just because he just had a lot of movements, and I didn't understand what was going on. I mean, I heard the word Huntington's disease, but I didn't know much about it because my family didn't talk about Huntington's disease. But I read about, that Huntington's disease causes mood swings, and I thought that meant that Huntington's disease makes you angry. So that's, kind of based on what I'd witnessed. But I also read that it was genetic, and that I was at risk for inheriting the gene and developing the symptoms myself. So I knew that someday I wanted to get tested. I went away to college. I studied occupational therapy. My grandfather passed away while I was in college, my senior year. And after graduating, I needed a job, so I ended up applying at the long-term care facility where he'd lived for the last years of his life. So it's a large facility in Manhattan, and it has a 48-bed Huntington's disease unit. So it was there on the unit that I started interacting with residents and learning more about Huntington's disease. So I learned, what mood swings were. I learned that Huntington's disease does not make you angry, that there were things that I could do as an occupational therapist to help my residents, by giving them equipment to make their morning activities easier, or, working on making their rooms safer. And it was also there that I started really to think about genetic testing. And I did go through the genetic testing process, and I found out in 2005 that I do have the genetic mutation that causes Huntington's disease. So with that knowledge, I started to get a little more involved in HDSA with fundraisers, sharing my story, talking about Huntington's disease, talking to medical students that would come into our long-term care center, and just overall just getting involved. And I went to my very first HDSA convention in 2006 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the very first person that I met at that conference was Karen. So
A stalker?
She was not a stalker. So I'll turn it over to Karen to share, what brought you here to convention?
Well, yeah. Hi, everyone. Come on in. I didn't know that Huntington's was in my family when I was a child. I didn't realize that it was in my family till my aunt was showing symptoms of something. We didn't know what it was. And they went through all these kinds of tests and just put her in the in the nursing home and gave her medicine. And it took a while. She had like 5 of those spinal taps and all those scans and things trying to find out what was wrong. And then they finally found out it was Huntington's disease. Still, that didn't mean too much to me. I thought she just had it, and that's the end of that. Then I noticed my mom was having a lot of outbursts, and she would throw the Christmas trees out the front door and the turkeys on Thanksgiving and everything out the front doors. So there was something going on. I didn't know it was Huntington's. Then we went and got her tested and found out she had that. And then that's when I realized that this was hereditary and that now I had a 50-50 chance of having this disease in me. I had to actually go and get order the HDSA books online and bring them to the hospital and teach the doctors when my mom was sick. They knew nothing about Huntington's, and all I wanted to do was just put her on Haldol, and anytime she was asking for something or doing something that they didn't want, they wanted to medicate her more with that. And we all know that with Huntington's, less medicine is a lot better than more. So as I saw my mom getting sicker and sicker, I decided that I should probably go get gene tested because I was a med tech already, so I was very comfortable being in a medical situation. So to me, that wasn't as scary because I know a lot of people are afraid of even going in the hospitals or the doctors, but to me it was just, that was home. I lived in the hospital a lot, so I worked there. So I decided to go get tested. And I was 33 years old then. I'm 55 now, so yeah, that was 21 years ago. And I tested positive. And what I wanted to do if I tested positive was sign up for some research. I was really lucky. I didn't feel sad that day when I got those results. I know most everybody else, it's the most awful day ever in their life. It wasn't my most awful day. Actually, it's turned out to be my best day because I had Huntington's. I'm here around all you guys, and you guys make me feel good. So thank you. So I signed up for research. I was in the CARE HD study back there for the CoQ10, way back then for 2.5 years. And I also decided that I wanted to go to the convention. I saw that online. They had a convention every year. So I called up my sister, and I said I was going to go, and she said she was going to go too. So we went to our first convention in Rochester, New York, and cried and learned a lot. We also ran into a bunch of people that were from Florida, and we decided to come back to Florida and start a support group and do some fundraising. And I've been running the support group now since then, and still fundraising and things like that. Welcome, everybody. Okay. Thank you.
So coming to convention motivated you to go home and start a support group and start some fundraising, but was it ever difficult?
Yeah. I have difficult days. Not days. I have difficult moments because you just break down and you don't want to breathe anymore. You just want to stop. But I think of what I can do to help people, and I made pins. I made pins for everybody, and I just say, HD sucks, and breathe, and then find something better to do. Be happy. There's always something or something I can do. Okay.
Yeah. Well, after meeting me, she felt even more inspired because we have gotten to know each other over the years. We've participated in events together, creating our own little support system, along with Karen's niece Emma over here, or up there.
That's the Huntington's Triathlon in Miami. That this year it will be the 25th year. No, we didn't win it, but we did good.
I I was going to tell him we won.
But we did raise the most money. So that counts, right?
It does count. So after going to my first convention, I also wanted to get more involved. I wanted to, do more fundraising. I wanted to go to more local events. I wanted to start events. I wanted to talk to others. I shared my story publicly in the New York Times and on The View. I did lots of just different media outreach just to create awareness about Huntington's disease. I ended up taking a job with a pharmaceutical company that was interested in Huntington's disease just to, kind of boost some of that research and some of that involvement with this community. I've come to convention every year to speak or to participate. I joined the National Youth Alliance through the Huntington's Disease Society of America. So that's a youth group for young people affected by HD. I got involved internationally through the European Huntington's Disease Network and the World Huntington's Disease Congress. And it's all been a very great experience to kind of take this information that was, very negative, information about my future and about, finding out that I am going to develop the symptoms of Huntington's disease and, kind of figure out how to live positively, how to make a difference in my own life, but also in the lives of the people around me. So today, what we're going to focus on is some tips for living positively with Huntington's disease. So, what tips can we give?
Yeah.
We, overall, our biggest tip would be living healthy. Eating a balanced diet, choosing foods that are right for you and for your bodies, talking to a doctor, preventative care. So, taking vitamins, taking supplements, preventing anything. Science tells us a lot about, how to take care of yourself. So if you're already going to have Huntington's disease, you kind of want to prevent other diseases from affecting your life. So just talking to a doctor, reducing stress and anxiety. So figuring out what techniques will work for you to reduce stress in your life. And exercise.
Yeah, exercise, yeah. Exercise seems to be important. They actually did a study with the mice in the little circle thing, and the one that ran a lot lived longer than the others with Huntington's. So we have fact that it works in the mice, and it does work in us because I'm looking pretty good for being where I am. But exercise is not just running. Exercise is just walking, dancing, singing, anything that you're doing except sitting is exercise, okay? And we all can do it.
Well, yeah, figuring out what kind of physical activity you'd enjoy. Finding something that you enjoy. And this is not only for a person with Huntington's disease, but also for the caregiver. Finding out an activity that you enjoy to keep yourself active and doing it every day. And Karen, as she hinted to, is very active and she does enjoy exercising. We did participate in the Huntington's disease triathlon as a team, so yeah. She did the running. But Karen, why don't you share with them that, you have been out, you have been exercising, but did you change that recently?
Yeah. Well, I've been exercising, but a couple months ago, I fell off my bike like 3 times riding it to work, and then I did it again another day, and then I was out to dinner with my niece, and I just fell out of the chair, and I wasn't even bending down to get anything. So I had to think a minute, say Huntington sucks, but okay, I can either give up right now or change that. So I went to the gym, got a personal trainer, which isn't cheap, but I got somebody helping me, and he actually looked up Huntington's and has me on such great balance things, and I'm hoping to come back and be better, because I'm not ready to give up on that.
So our next tip would be talking about HD, which probably, as you can tell, we both do pretty often. We talk to pretty much anyone who listen, share with them information about Huntington's disease, share with them, the struggles that we have going on, what's happening in our family, educating others through advocacy, through letter writing, getting involved with the HD Parity Act and, advocating with your representatives to help pass it, having a support system, so getting involved in a support group like Karen started.
Yeah, you got to have somebody you can call when you need something. We can't do this on our own. You can't.
And talking is therapeutic. Talking to somebody else helps you process your own thoughts and feelings. So, and as Karen has been doing this whole presentation, finding humor in your situation, just taking a moment to laugh and, release some emotion and then, focusing back on it. So she did distribute pins.
Yep. I had those made. Oops. There, yeah. HC sucks. Wait, put your pin on, everybody. Everybody got your pin? Yeah. My family was a little more accepting of the whole Huntington's things, but I know, Katie was very brave in what she did because Katie, you want to say about your family, that your family coming out or no?
Yeah, I mean, my family, when I went through testing, they were not interested in testing. And as I mentioned earlier, they didn't talk about Huntington's disease. So then for me to go through testing and then start to talk about it, they didn't necessarily approve of this strategy. But there were a lot of people in my family that, kind of this let them open up a little more because they were living just like me. They were living afraid. They were living, they wanted to be able to talk about it, but they didn't have that avenue. They didn't have that, it wasn't allowed. So once I started talking about it, they were able to reach out more. They were able to get more involved in, their own fundraising or their own advocacy work, or just being able to support other family members.
So that makes you live much more happy that you...
Mm-hmm. Being able to help other people.
Wonder Woman.
So humor. Getting involved. So just getting involved, being a part of, being a part of the future. Volunteering with HDSA, volunteering with your local chapter for events, coming to Washington, D.C. to go meet with a representative, just volunteering, maybe volunteering at your local long-term care facility. If there's a facility that has residents that are affected by Huntington's disease, going and seeing what they need. Volunteering in general could be a good daily activity or weekly activity just to get you up and out of the house. Fundraising. You can do anything to fundraise. So HDSA does have some fundraisers that they do. There's the Team Hope Walk program. There's different events that they have. Hearts for Huntington.
That's an easy one.
But, people often start their own fundraisers. They take something that they're interested in and kind of turn it into a fundraiser. One of my first fundraisers after college for Huntington's disease was they had this hoops for Huntington's program, and it was basketball hoops. But I worked at a long-term care facility in the OT department, and we didn't have basketball hoops. However, we had lots of hula hoops, which I still don't really understand why. But we had all these hula hoops, so I decided to have a Hawaiian-themed hula hoop-a-thon for Huntington's disease, which was a lot of fun. It got a lot of people to come to the facility and come have a night out. And I learned that at some point in life you lose the ability to hula hoop. So if that's an activity you're interested in, I say keep it up. And then, of course, participating in research. We need research in order to advance science in Huntington's disease. So, we've both participated in research. I've participated in pre-symptomatic studies to track what are the first symptoms of Huntington's disease, what are the biomarkers associated with Huntington's disease. And Karen, you've done some.
CARE-HD, the PREDICT, and now I'm in Enroll.
Mm-hmm. What has it been like to participate in research?
It's kind of cool. I like to go places so they get to go and they pay for it. And, and that's really nice, right? And they make you just feel like you're so special because that's all they keep saying. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like, I know, it's okay, you know, but they make you feel really good. And plus, I don't really see a doctor for the Huntingtons, you know. So every time I go to that, those are free visits to the best people, and they'll tell me if there's something going on with my body or any medicine I might need for nothing. So to me, I think that's a good way for me to stay in check and make sure I stay in good.
Well, there are benefits to studies, beyond research, because we do get to travel to go and participate. We've both been to Iowa.
Yep.
Right?
Like 11 times, yeah. Yeah.
I've gone up to Connecticut to participate in a PET scan. I've gone to Iowa twice now for a spinal tap, which it was not that bad. It was more like, it was bad, like, thinking about it, but the doctor was so nice, and like I actually had him, after he did it on me this last time, I was like, could you like do a spinal tap on a raccoon? And he was kind of like, okay. So I pulled out a stuffed raccoon from my, like a stuffed animal raccoon, not like a stuffed raccoon, from my bag, and he pretended to do a spinal tap for a picture.
That makes you funny.
Which, we have, we're very lucky to have some awesome researchers out there who are working on, specifically on Huntington's disease.
Yeah, I think we have the best researchers out there. You see how the talk now, but it's been like that forever. And I actually got to go visit Gillian Bates' lab in Europe. I became a friend of hers. Actually, I was like the first one she knew that had Huntington's. When I told her that, it just really saddened her because she didn't know anybody. But I went and saw her lab, and that woman works 25 hours a day for us. 25 hours. She's in the lab writing grants for herself or other people, so I know we have the best.
We do. There's a lot out there just to be overall hopeful for, and I would encourage you after this to look into the research. So one thing that we do to live positively is planning for the future. So, there's stuff that we could do today to kind of make, the future a little easier. So setting ourselves up financially, setting ourselves up physically or emotionally, looking into long-term care insurance or life insurance, applying early. And if someone were to get long-term care insurance and then find out that they do not have the genetic mutation, long-term care insurance from someone who's worked in long-term care is a really good idea, because getting older is very expensive. And then, of course, finding good resources, finding great resources. Educate yourself from sources that are accurate and reliable. So, we have a slide later that has a couple of resources on it, but you want to make sure that the information you're getting is the right information. And you also want to make sure that the information you're getting is the right information for you. You don't want to be looking into information that is, too scientific and you don't understand it, or information that is not necessary at this time. So the resources that we have are good resources. Yep. So I wanted to look into today's technology. So I thought of some apps that I've used. The first app is Happify. It's science-based activities for stress management and reducing anxiety. The second one there is Be the Change. So this is an app that gives you daily challenges to help change yourself or change the world. We have Think Up, which is daily positive affirmations. Omvana, which is meditation for everyone. So just taking time every day, time to be quiet, time to still yourself and not think about everything that's going wrong in your life. Just time to quiet your mind. The middle one on the bottom is Lumosity. So this is brain training. This is like brain exercises to improve thinking, improve memory, improve overall brain skills. And then there's always apps like different activity trackers. There's Couch to 5K programs if you do want to get into running, but maybe not running far. It's a weekly, you listen to it as you run, and it tells you when to run, when to walk for half an hour. I have tried it, and it was somewhat successful, but then I get distracted. So instead, for running, I chose Zombies Run, which is that sixth app at the bottom, the third app on the bottom. So it's an app that I listen to while I'm out walking or running, and then I hear the zombies chasing me, and then I have to go a little faster, or you pick up different supplies that you need, and you get to build your little town in the app. So there's a lot of different apps and technology out there to to help you focus your life and help you increase activity, or take time out for yourself and live positively. The first one's Happify. So it's like setting happiness goals, and then you track, things that would you do to make yourself happy, and you track how well you're doing them.
What was the third one?
The third one, I do have a slide with, I actually
The
have
names?
citations, APA citations for apps. Who knew that was a thing? But the third one is Think Up. So, and that's daily positive affirmations.
I have no apps. I'm old.
And you don't have to have apps. I mean, some people will do it, keeping
Well,
a journal.
I might
A
try that
journal is
zombie
good.
one. I
You
might try that
the
zombie one.
Yeah, when zombies are chasing you, you tend to move a little faster.
Yeah. Then I'll be in the hospital.
So the resources that we just wanted to point out is, of course, the Huntington's Disease Society of America, which has resources
The best.
for information about Huntington's disease, resources on things that are happening in your area. You can go to hdsa.org. They have a trial finder, so you can find out what research is available for you to participate in. There's also resources like the National Youth Alliance, the NYA, for young people who are affected by HD. An international resource for young people is the Huntington's Disease Youth Organization, or HDYO. And this is, again, a resource for young people who are affected by Huntington's disease, or friends of someone who is living in a family that's affected by Huntington's disease. And it's a lot of great information for the different age groups of kids. So it's information that they'll understand. And then if you're looking for information on, research, because, research is really difficult to understand, or can be difficult to understand, we have Ed and Jeff who do HD Buzz, and this is breaking down research or questions about Huntington's disease into information that we all can understand.
Yeah, and now they just said that they you can sign up to have an email sent, so they're going to send you as they put them out, and each year they're going to have a book come out. You can sign up for that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of great information. These were just the ones that with time and with being here, we wanted to highlight. But there is a lot of resources available that can help give us all a better understanding of Huntington's disease, or give our loved ones a better understanding of Huntington's disease. So, this is my APA reference. It's actually not formatted right, but whatever.
Don't look.
No, look. And I can give, if anyone's looking for the actual information on finding the
those
app.
are those names.
Those are the
Okay.
apps,
Yeah, totally.
So, questions?
Did we say-
Nothing?
Is everybody happy in here then? Right?
I've got one. So you said humor is really important, but what happens when you're being humorous with the person who has positive, and other people around you are like, wow, that's really tacky, or like, wow, blah, blah, blah. Should you even care, or should you just make the humor if it helps the person that you care about?
So the question is that humor is important. We have found it helpful. So what if you're being humorous with the person who's affected by Huntington's disease, but other people around you don't understand why you're making jokes. So I mean, to be honest, that's probably happened more times than we can count.
Yep.
Because we do tend to just make light of everything. But I have then taken the time to, maybe explain to the person.
Hand them a card.
Well, explain to the person who is maybe not understanding that, this is one of your coping strategies. But Karen could share a little more about.
Well, yeah, no, but we had somebody in Florida that had that kind of problem. Everybody was just thinking she was being crazy to her husband. And anybody who gave her, said anything, she would hand them one of those, the Huntington's card that says, "I'm not drunk, I have Huntington's." And that helps educate and stop that.
Yeah. So just taking the time to explain. I mean,
Yeah.
in that moment,
Don't punch them.
yes. Don't punch them.
Don't punch them.
In that moment, maybe they're feeling uncomfortable. But if you kind of talk to them about it, maybe that'll help them to have a better understanding of Huntington's disease and a better understanding of yourself and your
That's
situation.
advocacy.
Mm-hmm. That is advocacy. Come on. No
Yeah,
more
really.
questions? So we covered everything there could possibly
Oh, we got a question?
be. Yes.
Do you guys have any siblings that
Oh.
have been tested or
Oh,
not?
that's a good question.
That is a good question.
You want to go first?
You can go.
I always hog the mic anyway, right? Okay, yes. I'm one of 4 kids, and last year my sister died at 50 of Huntington's, and her niece, my niece is right here, who lives with me now, and my sister's right there. She's 18 months older than me, living in assisted living with Huntington's. And my brother is 10 years younger than me, and he's afraid of this whole thing, but I don't see any symptoms in him yet. But and then I have my uncle and my aunt. They passed away. So yeah.
I do have 2 brothers, and they've made their own decision to test or not to test, because testing is a very personal decision. And your test results, do have an impact on the people around you, both the people who are also, at risk for Huntington's disease, but, your other loved ones, your friends, your extended family. So testing is a very individual decision. And then because I do come from a very large family, we do have more family members
Bless you.
spread
Bless you.
out that are symptomatic for Huntington's disease, and more people that are at risk and dealing with the decision to test or not to test.
I had it on my little notes, but I decided not to do that. But I get frustrated a lot at work because even though everybody knows I have Huntington's, they still don't understand it. They just say things to me, and I'm like, really? Don't you know I haven't? Haven't you gone online to look and figure out? And I have the walks, and no one comes, but I don't let that get me down. I'm like, okay, you guys are more my family than they are, but I just wanted to say I'm sure everybody has that where you work. They don't understand what Huntington's is, but we're going to be happy.
Well, both where you work and just in life in general, you'll always come across people who don't understand, or situations that are really hard to deal with. And, when that happens, it's perfectly okay to feel sad or to feel frustrated. The important thing is that you then don't get stuck in that feeling, and you work through your own feelings. You talk to them, or you explain, or you walk away and remove yourself from the situation. Because, I mean, we could stand up here and
Yeah.
we can talk, and, it looks like, we've handled it very well. It looks like everything's very positive, but we have those moments where, it's sad. As much as I've done, as much as I've talked about Huntington's disease, as much as I've, advocated on the Hill, or, worked for different, or spoke at different centers, or, working in pharma. At the end of the day, right now, at this moment, I'm still going to have Huntington's disease. And that's not easy. But for this moment right now, I do not have Huntington's disease. So I can come to Baltimore. I can talk about HD. I can talk about, what I've done to come to this point 10 years later, 11 years later after testing, and share with you how, those results have made an impact on my life. And I like where I'm at. I've done things that if I had gotten results that I found out that I did not have the gene, I wouldn't have been in Cape Town last week volunteering, because I would have had to be focusing on a job or, something. I had this opportunity and I just went and did it, because I can do it right now. So, I mean, we've had it, but we do have those days, and you just kind of have to step back, and realize that, this right now is a moment and it'll pass, and, things are pretty good.
Yep. Oh yeah, we forgot one thing. Okay. Now, kids. To have kids or not. When I was a kid, I didn't want to have children. It wasn't one of my dreams to have a baby when I was a kid. And I think when you're around, when you're a child, everybody in your little group says how many kids you want to have, and you usually grow up to have that many. It turned out I'm lucky in that sense that I didn't want to have kids, and I didn't. So I don't have to be sad for that, because I know that's a hard decision. How about you?
Just throw me under the bus. So I did grow up wanting to have children, and when I went through testing, part of my reason for testing was to know for the future on whether or not I would have children, because I don't want my children to grow up at risk. I made the decision that I wanted to find out, or go through pre-implantation genetic diagnosis with IVF, to make sure that my children did not have to wonder if they had inherited the gene. So 5 years ago, at the age of 30, do the math, I did PGD. Unfortunately, all of my viable embryos tested positive, so they would have all grown to develop Huntington's disease. I tried it twice. And the second time, all of my viable embryos tested positive. So I, came to the decision to stop it there and not to have children. But I've talked about it, to other people. And again, if I think of where I'm at right now in my life, that, it just kind of worked out. I have great nieces and nephews. My friends have great children. So I spend lots of money on them, enough money, more than enough money on them. And I get to have that interaction that's, very similar. And again, I wouldn't be able to do the things in my life that I have done had it worked out, because I am an occupational therapist. Occupational therapists set goals, measurable goals. So I have a lot of goals that I wanted to achieve, before. I guess some people call it a bucket list. But I had goals that I wanted to achieve, like going to all 50 states, and I've been to 47. Oh my gosh! Coming home from Cape Town, I flew on an airplane that had 2 floors.
No.
Yes! That was on my list
cool.
of things to do. So, I wouldn't, had life worked out differently, I wouldn't have had many of the opportunities that I have had.
Yeah.
So, I can attest that in the end, it all works out. And of course, we have Emma.
Yeah, I love being I love being an aunt too. Yeah. Now she lives with me. For now.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I've been positive for 6 years, and when I was first diagnosed, it was really rough time. The science was really bad. Just in 6 years, they've come so much.
Mhm.
So even though I'm slowly progressing with the disease, I've never felt happier or more positive.
Right.
And after like these sessions and just everything that's going on. So, I mean, I'm so hopeful for the future. It's just wonderful, you know, like they say, it's never good to have HD, but this time is the best time to have it. So, just science, it's just been so wonderful lately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yay to science.
30 years ago, there was nothing. She wasn't. There was nothing. So, I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing. I mean, testing 6 years ago, testing 10 years ago, so much has come along.
Yeah.
That there's definitely a lot to be hopeful for. You know, a lot of great information, great science. Definitely, you know, if you're able to participate in the research. You know, because you know, you being a part of it gives us all hope.
Thank you.
I just want to tell everybody real quickly.
Oh, no.
I tested positive for Huntington's about 13, 14 years ago, and there was no support group in Jacksonville, Florida at the time, so I took the time, found a support group in Orlando, where Karen was running it. And because of Karen, I've been able to live positively with Huntington's, come to many, many, many conventions. This is like a family reunion. It's not a Huntington's convention. As you guys come more and more and more, you'll figure that out really quickly. But because of this woman right here, I have been able to do a ton of fundraising. Share my shirt. I have to share my shirt. So one of the gentlemen that started the support group with me was named Daniel. This was 12 years ago we started the support group. This is his shirt. He used to come to every convention and wear this shirt. I had to share this, I'm sorry.
That's cool. I paid her.
But because of Karen, I met him in the Atlanta convention, and I met him. His name was Daniel. He was an amazing person. He had a daughter. He ended up living 2 miles from me down the road in Jacksonville, Florida. We decided to start a support group. So for 12 years, we've had a support group in Jacksonville, and unfortunately, he's not able to be here anymore because he passed away from HD. And his daughter is now suffering, and she's 13, and she's got juvenile. But I wanted to share with you how wonderful this woman was, because if it wasn't for her, I never would have met Daniel, and I never would have started the North Florida affiliate, and I wouldn't have been able to do anything without her. But because of her living so positively, she's been able to rub off on me. I've been able to do everything that I've been able to do. She's good.
Yeah. No, I mean, Karen, everybody that I've met through the community is amazing and inspiring, and we all have our stories, and we can all make an impact.
Yep.
On the future.
Do you or anyone else in the crowd have any tips for the day you test or the week after, what to do for yourself, what to do with your family, or anything that you can?
So the question is tips for the day that you find out your results, or the time after finding out your results. So when I found out my results, they actually came back a week early. So they called me and said that the results were back and if I wanted to come in, and I said yes because I wasn't going to then wait. But I had pre-planned a party that night in my apartment. So I still had the party. I told my friends that, if my results came back and I did not have the gene, we were having a party to celebrate. And if my results came back and I did have the gene, then we were having a party so that I didn't have to, be there by myself. So I found the social support was very beneficial, and my friends did show up. I actually had friends that then stayed the weekend because they didn't want to leave me there myself. So, finding social support, not going alone, finding someone to go to the appointment with you and to, take you out, for lunch or to get something to eat. But just finding someone to be there. What about you, Karen?
Yeah, you can find a support group ahead of time. Know where those people are going to be, that you can jump right in and not feel alone if you test positive. And we all know that even the ones that test negative sometimes feel worse. So you still need somebody, because it's a hard day. Definitely is a hard day.
Yeah. So, getting right after getting back into like a normal routine could be beneficial. I mean, that it all depends on the individual. Like, some people might need a moment, might need a day off to just process it, whereas other people, getting back into what you're doing every day, keeping up with your schedule, might be what's best for you.
But you don't have to take it as, a lot of people take it as this death sentence. It's not a death sentence. It's just a genetic test. It's going to tell you what's going to happen later on in life. But if you turn it into something positive, start helping other people. Like with me, I mean, it took me a little while after mine, because I think I cried straight for 3 years. Like, I just cried, and it was that all the time. And finally my husband was like, okay, do something about it, figure it out, get off your butt, find a support group, do something. And that's when I found Karen. But you don't have to take it as such a negative. I mean, it has had such a, I don't know where my life would be if it hadn't been for the Huntington's Disease Society and all of these people. And these are family, and some of them are more family to me than my own family. And like I said, it's like a reunion. Every year I come here, and a lot of times, one year you come and you see all these faces and you don't really get to know them that well, but you come the next year and it's like, hey, I remember you from last year. And, you get to know these people and you just love them and you want to help them and you want to do so much more for them. So you don't have to take it as, oh my gosh, I'm going to die tomorrow. That's not how it is at all. Turn it into a positive, You can do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, learning. Learning your status, like whether or not you have the gene or you don't have the gene. The biggest thing would be to stay involved. We need all types of people to participate in research, all types of people to fundraise. We'd love to see everybody at convention every year, because as it's been said from the audience multiple times, convention is educational. It is all part of advocacy. It's all part of learning how to take care of your loved ones or yourself. But the biggest thing is, as HDSA says, family is everything. Coming to the convention every year for the past 11 conventions, or 21-ish, it's very much like a family reunion. You get to see people that you've met previous years. So if you're able to join us in Chicago next year, I would strongly encourage planning to come. And if you're not here this year and you're able to join us in Chicago next year, we'll be there. So.
Yep. Who is in a support group? Everybody? Everybody know where there's one by them? Because we can always help find that later, too, if you come up and ask.
Yeah, and information like that is also on HDSA.org.
You can even call my number and call me if you don't want, if you're not near one or anything. I talk to anybody. Yeah.
So, are we done? So participating in a support group or coming to a convention, being able to interact with people who understand is is very beneficial
Definitely.
for everybody, because as she said, we know what you're going through.
Yeah.
So I found out 5 years ago that I had gene positive. My dad had been diagnosed this year before, and we didn't have any family history of it, so it was a shock. I remember the phone call my mom telling me that my dad had it as I'm like Googling it online. Like, I remember this from high school biology class, and just the devastation, because growing up, I, a lot like Katie, just grew up dreaming about being a mom. I was a high school math teacher, but my dream was always to be a mom. And so we decided to get tested, because my husband and I were just literally like 6 months away from planning to start a family, and I really thought I didn't have it. I honestly went in like, okay, I'm gonna find out I don't have it, and let's play baby. And then that was the worst day of my life. And my husband Ben is the most amazing man, and was there for me. And that day we didn't talk to anybody else. Actually, it was a day we were Catholic and went to my parish priest, and that really helped for us. That made a big difference. And then the next day we told my mom, which was hard to tell. And but even on that day, you guys must have been tomato can, I don't know. That somehow made a difference. I feel like I need to physically do something that was outside myself. And we chose to adopt our children. So we get and that wasn't an easy decision. And there's still that, I thought I'd get to this point 5 years later, and that mourning and loss, of what is lost for our future and for the kids that I thought we were gonna have. We were gonna have 4. All these plans that you come up with. There's still that. And as much as I am coming to convention makes me feel positive again, and going to a sport group, but there are just times that we crash. That I just crash hard. And it's more than a moment. It's more than a day. It can be, it might be just a day. It might be a month. And it sucks.
It does.
But coming to convention, and actually, Katie, you wouldn't remember this, but we actually met you in Florida a few years ago, and we had no idea what HTSA was about. We're like, and we were in NYA thing, and we're like, we were just so confused. And you reached out to us and made us feel hopeful, and so I thank you for that. And anyways, the ups and downs just always continue. So right now I'm feeling up, and I'll probably crash by the time I get home, but I'll come back to Chicago and have those ups and downs. You just have to figure out how to get through it down. Yeah, I managed. And telling my friends how big. At first, I don't know about anyone else, but I felt really secret about it.
Yeah.
Especially as we're going to adopt. I'm like, I can't let any. We were very honest. We never lied. We talked about it through the whole adoption process, and it turned out to not be an issue in our case, especially because we were pretty young. But you're freaked out. I've only started like, okay, I'm going to share things on Facebook, but I've never said, here's my genes, guys, whatever. I still have 2 younger brothers, so I don't want to, call them out unnecessarily. So, but it's scary, and I feel like I'm taking baby steps. And every time I take 2 steps, I take 1 back. But
It can be hard, sharing that, your status, or even just sharing that you do have difficult days or difficult times, periods in your life. We all have ups and downs. We all experience it no matter what we're dealing with. Even people who are not affected by Huntington's disease goes through feelings like that. So being able to, to come and meet with other people, being able to talk to other people, or reaching out, maybe you connect with someone here, or you connect with someone online through one of the resources or Facebook groups that you could then reach out to and talk with. And of course, if you need it, we talked about talking to a doctor, preventative care, and if you need to talk to a doctor or to a specialist. Personally, I think everyone should be in therapy. But, just finding someone that you can talk to, someone who's not affiliated or not affected, that you could just share everything with, is very, very helpful. Well, so if there's any resources out there that could help talk about Huntington's disease, there are resources. The Huntington's Disease Society of America has brochures like the Fast Facts, which just lists basic facts about Huntington's disease, and you can share. Being able to give them something to remind them, like a bracelet about Huntington's disease. There's I don't even know what to call them, like the rubber bands.
These?
Those. Sharing those with people. I mean, when I worked in the long-term care facility, used to just go through them so quickly because I just gave them to family members or people who were interested. So giving something like that. Karen has made the buttons that she shared with you all just to help, stimulate the conversation or add something to the conversation. And then, of course, I mean, sharing your own story. So sharing how Huntington's disease has impacted your life. I, as I mentioned, have shared my story very publicly. So if you Google me, the New York Times article is the first thing that comes up. But, it's been okay. And, I've had very positive things come out of it. However, you do have to keep in mind that if you are going to share your story, you don't then get to take it back. So if you decide that you don't want to share it with everybody, but you do want to talk to some people, maybe, come up with the list of things that are okay to share, and stick to your list. Or if you're having a fundraiser and you want to share information about the fundraiser, you can just say that you're having a fundraiser for friends that are affected by Huntington's disease. You don't have to share that it's actually affecting your life. And if they want to know who your friend is, just say Katie Moser.
There you go.
Just because I do fundraisers for other disease states just because I care about someone who's affected. So that's okay too. But yeah, there are resources out there that you can share. And if you're here at convention, browse the exhibit hall and see what other people are handing out.
Plus, you got the that new movie, The Lion's Mouth. That's on HBO. Just say, you guys, can you watch this movie? I have.
Daniel's in it.
Oh, Daniel's in it. But they'll understand after that. That's pretty sad.
All right, one more.
I have a really good resource on the Huntington's disease support group. And what's wonderful about that, because I was my mother's caregiver for so long, and I have the HD now, so everybody just, you just get on there, and people just, a lot of them are just sounding off, which is wonderful because you need a place to sound off. And you can do it daily. And some days are your really bad days where, I can't deal with HD, I can't deal with anyone with HD. I'm not going to read what anybody has to say or who needs what. And then some days I'll go on and they're like, I'm really, oh my gosh, I just put my father in nursing home. My father was crying. Why are you doing this? Gosh, it's ridiculous. I had to sign that thing to commit my own. I was able to answer that person. But no, hey, listen, my mother had children. I really don't know. Facebook is just that Facebook support group, and you could be anywhere in the country, and there's people from different countries. And you just hit the translate button, and it translates their languages from Spain or wherever, and but that daily support group, and like I said, as long as you have, you can get on Facebook, that's every day, or not when you're having those bad days, because I'm with you. I sometimes have a week where I don't want to talk to anyone, so I know those counties.
Yeah, connecting through social media, you then get to connect with not only people here in the U.S., but also people internationally, because Huntington's disease affects more than those of us here, but people around the world.
I have a tattoo for HD. It's Hedwig from Harry Potter, the owl, and then in a banner it says Hope. And I am on MuggleNet, which is like a huge Harry Potter thing, because I have 7 Harry Potter tattoos and I'm internet famous, whatever. And so I posted it on the website, and then like 17 comments were like, "Oh my God, Hope is for HD. Do you know what HD is? Did you do it for HD, or was it Harry Potter inspired?" And I was like, well, it's kind of both. Like, my best friend has HD, and her favorite animals are owls, so it kind of just lucked out. But, so it, like, from different fandom groups all the way to
That's
support
cool.
group.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that, take something that they, like I said before with the fundraising, take something that they enjoy, or some interest that they have, and then, spread it to cover, how they're going to create awareness about Huntington's disease. I've never heard it done with Harry Potter before.
Yeah?
But that sounds good. But actually,
We have no
because
more
we
time?
have an online audience
Oh.
right now, so our session has to end. Well, we could keep going if after. Oh, we can
right.
keep going right now. He's giving us a thumbs up.
Okay.
Okay.
I had testified 2 years ago, and I had no symptoms, so I thought it was going to be, oh, this was a piece of cake. But my son and daughter were just getting married and wanted to know my status, so they would know their status. So I tested positive. My son insisted on testing right after that and getting his results. He tested positive. My daughter, who was just married and she's a physician, said, I'm not going to get tested. She said, if I don't want to know my results. But then, it's about a year later, when she was married, she got pregnant, and then she was able to test herself and test the baby in utero, so the baby was negative. But she said she didn't want anybody. People go, I have to respect that they don't want anybody to know their status. They could lose their job, they could lose a lot of stuff. And if it goes on, Facebook, it could be out there forever. Like I don't even put the baby picture out there on Facebook because I know people that, well, she's not on Facebook, but it's just a lot of times we forget, where that information is.
Yeah. So it's important to make sure that what you're sharing is what you want to share, because once you put information out there, as I said before, you don't get it back.
Right. And I have long-term health care, I have life insurance, I have all that, and I had all that in place before I started talking. And because, you might have, even though they said they got the gene on, that the things are supposed to protect us, don't. You should really get everything done before you start talking about it. And I'm lucky enough that I have all that in place so I can be here and talk.
Yeah. So thank you for coming to learn how to live positively with Huntington's. Thanks for
you.
sharing. Bye.